Am I, 29 female, being too hard on my friend, 30 female, after her baby died? ETA. Everyone is asking why I am still friends with Kelly. In general, I feel like she isn't a bad person. Kevin has spent their entire relationship tearing her down, gaslighting her into believing she is a disgusting, horrible, useless human being. She doesn't have a support system, and living in that type of vacuum has completely messed her up. She is in therapy now. It took a while to find someone. Also, we currently work together, so extracting myself from this situation isn't as easy as just blocking her. Edit number 2. For everyone saying that I am rationalizing Kelly's behavior away the same way she did Kevin's. I know she has lied to me to cover for him, I know specific times, but I also assume there are more. I don't have any way to look into this other than her word. But obviously I am not just buying everything she is selling, or I wouldn't be here. If things change and it looks like she may get her kids back, I will voice my concerns to the appropriate people. Too long did not read. I am afraid I am being too judgmental of my friend going through a really difficult situation. I met Kelly a few years ago at work. I believe at the time she had 2 young children, the oldest is currently 5. She was also already married to Kevin, 26M, who is a stay-at-home dad. They homeschool and she is the sole provider. I've met Kevin and the kids a few times, but don't really know them, and we never really talked about the kids too much. We eventually started hanging out outside of work, and early on in our friendship I learned that after their first child died, her parents had called in a wellness check on her and Kevin, which really upset her. I didn't pry for more details, but she and her husband moved across country, to where I live, and the relationship with her parents was severely strained. Between her pregnancies and the pandemic, we didn't see each other for a while, but hung out again a bit over a year ago. She tells me something that I press, and I find out Kevin is emotionally abusive. I tried to convince her to start seeing a therapist and to consider leaving him. But by this time they have 3 children, and she doesn't have any family here. I kept checking in and telling her that it is not okay how he treats her, and offered her my guest room, etc. At some point she seems upset with me about it, so I back off. Then she gets pregnant again and I drop it. The baby was born with a condition that meant he was going to be disabled his entire life. When I saw Kelly a few months later, she seemed exhausted but okay. She didn't really talk about Kevin, and gave me a vague response when I asked. Next time we talked I found out that Kevin had decided he's in love with someone else, and either Kelly is okay with it or she can leave. I tell her how fucked up that is. She says Kevin is just honest and that's why he told her. She talks about taking her new baby and disappearing, leaving the other 3 with Kevin. Then I don't see her at work for a few weeks because our schedules change a bit. I get a text from her that she just got out of jail. She had been arrested for child neglect, and Kevin was arrested for child abuse. Her parents had posted bond and hired a private lawyer. From an article one found out the baby was at the hospital in critical condition. At this point I'd assumed it had been an accident or something. I texted to check in, but didn't see her again for a few weeks. From what I know, I think the baby was shaken. When the police interviewed her, she didn't tell them about any of the abuse. She said it was after she was out of jail that she woke up to what was happening. Her other children were removed from her care and put with her in-laws. She was still talking to Kevin, who called her from jail several times a day, telling him that she loves him, until her lawyer convinced her to go and see. Over time I learned he was abusing all the kids. She saw him do it. She told me she'd taken an older one to the hospital for stitches and lied about the cause. She also says he was physically abusing her. I go to court with her, try to help her with the in-laws, convince her to reach out to her parents, hang out whenever she needs someone, etc. About a month later, the baby is in hospice and passes due to his injuries. Kevin is charged with murder and still in jail. While Kelly is angry at him, she still tells me how he wasn't a bad guy, how she is going to continue to raise the 3 remaining kids with his parenting philosophy. She says the abuse wasn't discipline, and no one is going to tell her how to raise her kids. She believes in being honest with them, so she told the 5Y that their father was in jail for killing their brother. She gets phone calls and supervised visitation once a week. Overall, she seemed more upset about Kevin being charged than the baby passing. Yesterday she found out she probably isn't going to get her kids back. It isn't official, just what her family lawyer told her. But even before that, every week she wants them to be living somewhere different, based on how her mill was acting, including putting them into foster care. One of the big blowouts with the mill was over a missed visitation due to the children being sick. While I have heard her talk about how much she misses Kevin and how much she wants her kids back, she doesn't really talk about how she misses her kids the way she does Kevin. Obviously this is a really complex situation, with overlapping layers of grief and trauma, and I will be the first to say I know nothing about kids or marriage. I come from a not great home and I don't always have the best grasp of what normal relationships look like. So I don't know how to feel. Part of me empathizes with protecting your abuser and how hard it would have been emotionally to leave. But part of me also feels like she owed her children better than leaving them home alone all day with their abuser, that she should have left him after the first time it happened and that she shouldn't have continued to have more kids, they were all planned. I haven't told her and it makes me feel like a really shitty friend who is lying to her when she brings up things I don't agree with. She feels like the whole world is against her and I don't want to be someone else pilling on. She also doesn't have many other friends. Any advice? And #X200B. Did he kill the first child that died, too? I would not be able to stay friends with someone who would be willing to leave her older kids with an abuser. I guess my empathy for someone stuck in a cycle of abuse ends when it kills your kids. How can you be friends with this person? She's sick. She allowed her husband to abuse their children and murder their baby and she thinks the world is out to get her? You are not reacting enough. Wow, she's a horrible human being. I'm not sure what you expected by posting here, but enabling her awful behavior by standing by her and pretending to agree with her is not the right solution. You don't need to stand by someone who makes awful decisions. The world is against her because she made unambiguously horrible choices. It's okay for you to decide she's gone too far and you can't be by her side anymore. You still consider this person your friend? Really? My 30 female boyfriend, 41 male, is catching up with someone and I feel uncomfortable. Edit. I am not asking for advice on anything except for the current issue. But I did want to include some past things simply because I want to show that I do have trauma there and am unsure if I am overreacting due to the past, or if she is trying to advance him and I have grounds to be worried. Since he has been sober he has been better. He is not absolutely terrible. He pays for all of the rent, utilities etc. He doesn't not do anything. Backstory is important here only so you can get an understanding as to why I'm unsure if I am just being dramatic, or have a ground to be upset and worried. Been together 4 years. He's a recovering alcoholic, over 60 days sober now. He had lied to me about nearly everything you could imagine for the first one too, going on 3-ish years. Boyfriend has cheated on everyone he's been with. I've specifically caught him taking to another girl where he told me they were just friends, and they were heavily flirting, he was talking crap about me etc. that led to a breakup. This was maybe 2 years ago. Got back together and have been on and off. Nearly each time he was talking to other people. Fast forward to February, we broke up again. He was looking for apartments behind my back without me, on dating apps talking to other people etc. End of March, beginning of April he chose to get sober again. He's tried before but that's a whole other story. He apologized up and down saying he's going to be different and sober and he's so sorry for all the pain he's caused etc. He was super sweet all the time and such. Fast forward to now, it's been 2 months since I've moved back in, and he almost compliments me, never tells me he loves me first, never makes me feel good about me, doesn't seem to care in anything I'm interested in or passionate about. Anyways, a girl he was friends with about 15-20 years ago, according to him, but it seems like there was way more there, messaged him out of the blue to catch up. She stated that she asked someone else they used to be friends with mutually about him, odd to me, and then decided to message him. To me, catching up would be maybe an hour or 2 conversation about what you do for work now, if you have kids, pets, if you're happy and successful, but instead these are what I believe to be red flags that she is fishing for more or he is trying to keep her on a hook until he gets rid of me etc. The conversation first spanned a full 24 hours of back and forth. It has now spanned 6 days. Every day talking, not including today because I'm not sure yet if they've spoken today, so today could be 7. Again, to me, catching up would be a short conversation, not continuously talking for day. She sent him multiple pictures of herself, one that she zoomed out of to clearly show her bust, in a tank top, not nude. Why would you do that if you're just catching up? She asked him for pictures of himself. Why does that matter if you're just catching up? She asked him his relationship status, and then continued to go on a rant about her terrible relationships etc. It seemed like she was fishing to be felt bad for and get attention. She was quite flirty, saying things like, well, come on over and eat some food. And you can play that song you wrote me. Apparently he wrote her a song years ago. He said it was a song about her, not for her. She thinks differently. If he doesn't answer her right away, she says things like, "Sorry if I'm bothering you. I'll only message if you message me." And then an hour later when he doesn't say anything, she messages again asking him something or whatever. She tells him everything she's doing as she's doing it, and she asks him the same constantly. These are just some examples. I'm well aware that my past with him has caused me significant trauma, but I genuinely don't feel like I'm overreacting and being upset that he's talking to her. But to me, with the things she was asking, and the time it has gone on daily, it seems way more to me than catching up. He said, "Well, I'm not doing anything wrong, and he doesn't see why I'm upset at all." I told him I'm very uncomfortable by this, and he said, "Well, if she continues and goes any further, I'll tell her no and we can only be friends." He isn't flirting back, he is just continuing talking to her normally. If roles were reversed and if my boy had trust issues and pointed all of the things out that were bothering him with a conversation I was having with someone, I'd end communication with the friend in a heartbeat. No questions asked. But instead, boyfriend says I'm being oversensitive and overreacting. Would you be worried too? Should I be worried? Do I have grounds to be upset about this situation? Or is it just two people catching up and I'm the problem for overreacting? You choose a lying, cheating alcoholic and you are mad because he's a lying, cheating alcoholic. 60 days? The alcohol is barely out of his system. I'm sober. Have been for a long time. Run. Okay, why are you even giving him the benefit of the doubt? He treats you like crap and you know he flirts with other women. I would be uncomfortable too, but I would have been single before this situation. Why are you staying with someone who you see as keeping girls on the hook until he's ready to get rid of you? Grow a damn spine and leave this clown. If your relationship was a road you're hitting every pothole. He's lied countlessly to you and emotionally cheated, tried to physically cheat on you multiple times. When you brought up this issue, he dismissed your feelings. Show yourself some self-respect and get out of this relationship. You should have broken up with him in the first 1 to 3 years. F23, M26. He cheated on me during a rough patch. Now he wants to make things work. IMF, 23, and my boyfriend, 26, owned up to cheating on me for the last month. We've been going through a rough patch for a while but recently have been making a move to improve things. The past week or so has been really great and we made good changes that seemed like we were good again, and as a result he's decided to confess to me what happened. He said that he met a girl after a night out, he was sober enough to know better, and they slept together one time a month ago. For 2 weeks afterwards they were messaging romantically and she was asking about when he was going to leave me for her. He has admitted that he saw her as a silver lining, as a way out of the arguments at home. He told me they exchanged some drunken, "I love yous." 2 further weeks pass and he has ghosted her because he changed his mind and realized he's effed up. He has to my knowledge now completely gotten rid of her and owned up to everything. His reasoning is that he genuinely believed we were gonna break up. TBH, it was so bad at one point we were most likely one argument away from breaking up. Therefore, he has seeked someone out for comfort as his needs weren't being met when we were always at war with each other. He seems truly remorseful and has said he will do whatever is necessary to rebuild trust and make things right. And I believe him. But I had been having bad dreams and gut feelings about him cheating on me for weeks now, and when I asked him he promised me I was overthinking and everything was okay. I feel lied to and betrayed. I walked in on him last week hiding his phone and joked about how it was suspicious. We had a row about how I didn't trust him, turns out he was messaging her and I was right. I am trying to understand why, if things were so bad with us, and he thought he found the answer in another girl, why he continued to come home and try to work on things with me every night for 4 weeks. Before owning up to it. I just think if things were so bad with us, why keep it going when he felt, initially, that he had another viable option? I really just need some perspective on this. I'm not looking for the "he cheated, leave immediately, no takebacks" advice here because I truly want to consider that he knows it was a mistake and he did it from a place of not knowing how to open up. He has taken every step to give me the answers and the explanation, and whilst he knows he has royally messed up, he's been fully accountable. He has never cheated in a relationship in the past, but has been cheated on many times. I know the mental toll that had on him, and he still did it to me knowing what it would be like. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but part of me wants to believe that this could be the break we needed because all the arguments that led to the rough patch initially were about him not opening up, and now we're in a position where he has to and wants to in order to try to regain my trust. Lots of hurt feelings at the moment, but he has finally grown the balls to tell me, and he seems willing to answer my every question and admit what went wrong. I need some other perspectives from people who have been through it. Too long did not read. He cheated on me but seems genuinely remorseful. Do I give him a chance? How do you know he's never cheated but has been cheated on so many times? Sounds like the relationship has already run its course. Even if he's one of those rare cheaters that really only did it once and owned up to everything. If you stay, you will be paranoid every time any rough patch comes up again. It's not worth it. There are a million guys out there that won't cheat on you. Get out. Dude, no, just let him face his actions and break up. It's easy to be with someone and love them when things are good. A person shows you who they are and how they are when times are hard. Am I, 31M, wrong to want to have my own savings account separate from my spouse, 29F? My wife and I have been married for nearly 10 years. We have a 1-year-old together. Since the beginning of the relationship we each had only joint accounts, 2 checking and 1 savings. One of the checking accounts is for bills, so more than half my paycheck gets directly deposited to that one. Then the other checking account is for spending on groceries or things needed but not necessarily bills. Then we put money away into joint savings. We each have the ability to see and access these accounts. Well, over the years I've gotten paid more to where I more than cover the bills and necessities. My family's health insurance, life insurance, and AD&D insurance is deducted from my paycheck. My wife was working part-time the whole time we were married, but makes more hourly, so usually made the same bi-weekly. We used her income to pay for wants or extra principal payments towards the house. However, we have always been so frugal with our money and very tight. This was so that we could ensure we were set and prepared for retirement. But now I feel like we are over-preparing. We will have our house paid off by the time we are 45. We each have Roth IRAs, and I have a pension and a Roth 457 account through work. I am now getting to a point in life where I want to spend a little on myself without having to have both my wife and I agree on it. I want to start moving over maybe $2,300 in my own savings or checking account for me wants. Such as on games, or speaker system, or personal projects. I told her she could do the same cuz she works right now, but even though it's been reduced from 4 days to 1 day a week, and I don't mind if she puts aside the same amount herself for her wants cuz she's also the primary caregiver, parent to our son, and also deserves an award for hard work. But she hates this idea. She doesn't like the idea of keeping our finances separate. She says it's how couples get in fights and it causes relationship problems. She thinks everyone else is doing it wrong this way. I told her our finances will still be connected, but I think we should have our own allowances for things for ourselves where we won't feel the need to ask the other for permission. She says I don't have to ask permission now. But I told her I feel like I do cuz sometimes my purchases are bigger, but if I was saving $2,300 a month I could save up for those. She said I could do that now with our joint savings. I said but I still feel that's still shared, so I'll have to ask permission. Besides, it's really just an emergency savings, not a fun or want savings. She still despises the idea. So am I wrong? I just think it's fair for each of us to have an allowance for ourselves that's disconnected from everything else. Our own separate savings for ourselves. Is that bad for couples? Edit. To be clear, she would be able to view this account. I'm not trying to hide anything. I just want more freedom in buying things I want. I want her to have the same freedom. Also a follow-up. After explaining all of this to her, she seemed to understand more. She says she's fine with it, but if it starts to cause fights we will reevaluate. Thank you everyone for the advice. I recommend every couple have joint and individual accounts. It's always good to have your own money for fun, for emergencies, just because. It is not a bad thing, as long as there is plenty of money in the joint account. My parents have been married for 43 years and have both always had a separate account in case of emergencies. It's smart financial planning. Me and my spouse have separate accounts. We have one joint for our mortgage payments. I work. He works. I think it's fair. He has way more in savings than I do. Nope. I have a separate checking and savings account. So does my spouse. We have a shared account as well. One of my sets of married friends each have a fun money account. They agreed on a number to deposit each month, and they can do whatever they want with it. It works well.